Episode 8 Phantasmagorical. Child of Armageddon, I am sorry, for all that pain pours from you. It crystallizes into life around your feet. It cascades down your cheeks and hits the ground, soaking it in love. Those memories you are to carry with you are strength. Catherine was a young girl when it happened. That fire rained down from the sky, bathing her world in searing destruction. Her parents couldn't make it after her into the safety of the cold, dark underground. Just 7 years old, and that image burned into her eyes. All she ever knew, fading away into ash. She didn't speak a word for 4 years. She was already a quiet child, and not a word left her lips after that tragedy. But she was a resilient girl, taken in by a retired bandit-turned-blacksmith who loved the tenacity deep within Catherine. Faster than all others in the village, she grew with her mother, learning to craft weaponry, then homes for others. But what Catherine loved more than anything was the hunt. With her speed, strength, and flexibility, she took down prey much larger than herself at an age much lower than any other. At only 10 years old, she killed an elk with nothing but a net and a knife. At 14, she single-handedly ran the hunting parties for the town. Every time they left into that icy wasteland looking for meat, Adrienne, Catherine's mother, would wish for her to be safe. She knew that it was in vain. Catherine found nothing better in her whole cold world than that freedom of running off, out into the universe, feeling the flow of motion through her body. Out in the wasteland, running, moving, wind swirling and rushing past, her blood would explode through her body in a supernova of red-hot color. Truly nothing could compare to the feeling of fighting against a beast with nothing but your wit and your weapon. The cold steel severing all connection of that beast to life. Even though her childhood started with such a painful loss, she grew into this ruined world with the ferocity of a lion, earning her the nickname Cat. It was the day of another hunt. They were to find a molten serpent deep in a glacier cave. As they rode and ran, Cat would feel that wind threatening to cut her cheeks and chill her to the bone. She did not waver for a moment, pressing forward into the crisp air, but for the second time in her life she found herself afraid. The sky went dark. During the middle of the day, the sky went black. She stopped moving and looked up to the sky, expecting stars, but no stars came. Only the single cruel shape of their sun being extinguished by a singularity. And just as she growled out her exclamation of anger, it all faded away. When Cat awoke, she stared at the sky that was not hers, the air that was too still, the ocean that did not churn but lightly lapped at the shore. She laid there, smelling the calm breeze for longer than she could count. When she sat up, her eyes wandered around the new landscape. The white sand, colored with glasswork creatures all scuttling about, amused her. So she lightly smiled. The slow walk of a woman who's lost everything is more deceptive than sad. Of course, the way her shoulders slumped and her legs only slowly swayed forward were telltale signs, but Cat would never let the world see her like that again. Lost control of herself. Lost control of her world. Standing there on that beach she didn't know, with that sky she didn't know, she decided that she would simply continue her work. This new world was filled with dulling sensations, yes, but it was also surely filled with such beasts that would once more make her skin move and her blood boil. Cat had always had an affinity for animals, even as she hunted them. Even before the fire, she had 2 cats, a dog, and a snake. This trait of hers formed into a deep respect for 2 things: motherhood and the respect of consumption. So when she discovered that titanic whale upon the beach, with those constellations stretching across its colossal body, and a cub by its side, she began to work. knowing that it did not have much time. She had never hauled prey this large back to the village, but she knew the basic principles of hauling large bodies, and it only had to get back to the ocean. So she got to work finding a fallen tree, vines, and plenty of wood to fashion a large lever system, forcing the whale back onto its belly, then into the ocean. What she saw next filled her eyes with wonder. The whale floating on the surface of the water a moment before raising its fins high into the air, being brought down and flapped like wings. The big creature shimmered as it took flight, higher and higher. And its cub followed. As it hummed out its great cry to its flock, the sky whale disappeared into the clouds, dripping a single tear from its eyes. It dropped onto Kat. She felt that tear upon her skin a moment as it began to shimmer with golden energy, just before dissipating. There is a tale told in coastal areas around the Wonderland that saving a sky whale awards you a wish from them. Kat did not know this, at least not yet, so she did not make a wish. Over the next few years, Kat worked and learned from the folks all over the world. She took lessons from the Great Eternal Monastery, those who looked up to the Bad Moon, and even that of the Elven City with her. Titles began to spring up around her. Despite apparently having no gift at all, she slayed steel lobsters, dragons, hydras, even cruel, gifted individuals. Tyrants would be met with her scorn. Most of all, Kat was found to be a hero. A true oddity in this world. Kat found herself in that quaint little village at the edge of the Wonderland. She had heard that someone matching what she remembered of her mother lived there. She heard subtle guitar strings being plucked on the wind. When she did, she got up with a grunt and began to walk, barefoot towards the beach where the music was drifting from. She moved faster and faster until she was sprinting towards that familiar song on the breeze, and what she saw brought tears to her very dry eyes. Adrian sat, strumming on a self-made guitar. Her body was more pale than Kat remembered, but her great eyes that would peer into you were all the same. As that music drifted around her and she embraced her mother, she wept. And she hadn't in so long. Kat was awakened by a gentle lullaby sung by a new voice on the breeze. When she sat up to look, rubbing her eyes to dismiss that groggy feeling all about her body, she heard breathing through the air. A soft absorbing through slits in the skin rather than through a nose. As she turned her eyes, she was met with a soft greeting, and fish eyes peering back at her, catching the light. The aquamarine of this woman's big eyes struck Kat with a sense of gentle warmth that she was not expecting. After a moment, Kat replied in kind, smiling just enough to curl her mouth up at the edges. As they spoke, both women connected over a love of the beach. Kat made Phantasm laugh as they ate together that night, making jokes about some weather agents she met not that long ago. But as they looked up into that dark sky above them, they noticed a light wounding the air. A green streak far away, near that grand city of the world. Las Vegas loomed in the distance, many thousands of miles away. But as that pressure came from reality itself, Kat knew what a hero had to do. She steeled herself and informed Phantasm of the situation. Phantasm clasped their hands together and squeezed them so tight, Kat was taken aback. As they gazed into one another's eyes, they knew that this wasn't just Kat's issue. It was both of theirs. Wormhole Wonderland was created, written, and produced by Win Oates, with music by Dummis and Caleb Mazzota. Visit our website down below by Webmaster Callum, and visit our Discord. Thank you for listening to Wormhole Wonderland.